Welcome to the second national park in our parks pilgrimage bike tour to raise money for the National Parks Foundation. We're now in Hot Springs National Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we're talking to Lisa Allen, who is an interpretive ranger here
Yes,
at
sir.
Hot Springs National Park.
We're the first federal land to be set aside, and we were known as Hot Springs Reservation, and that was in 1832. But we were set aside for these wonderful hot springs that you see right here on the side of us. It's the first public land to be set aside for public use. So the government wanted to set this aside to protect the 47 thermal water springs that you can find in this area. The water goes 6,000, 8,000 feet into the ground. And as it's traveling through all the rocks and cracks into the ground, it actually is getting heated. And it takes it about 4,000 years to go through that complete cycle. So, and it's pressure that actually is pushing that water back up. So we don't really have geysers like they do at Yellowstone because our water's under constant pressure. So it's just constantly being pushed up. Now, how much water actually comes out is determined by rainfall. So the more rain we get, the higher the pressure. So it pushes up more water. If we're not getting a whole lot of rainfall, there's still a little bit of water pushing down on it, but it doesn't come up as fast. All 47 springs are coming out of the base of Hot Springs Mountain, which is the reason why all these bathhouses are built right here, because this is where all the hot water is. And then as time goes on, the bathhouses started building up, and so the community kind of started building up. 1915, most of these bathhouses were in operation. 1921, so that makes this our centennial year. We were inducted into the National Park Service, and we became the 18th national park. Late 1800s is when most of these buildings actually started to get built. But believe it or not, the first bathhouse was actually written about by Hunter and Dunbar, and that was in 1804. There was already, when they came to explore this area after the Louisiana Purchase, there was already shacks kind of built near the springs where people were using as bathhouses. So there was already evidence of the French and the Spaniards were already using the thermal water before we even got here. They said that the bathhouses were built in order, for holistic health. So people came here for health purposes. So by going to one of the operating bathhouses, submerging yourself in the thermal water, taking a hike on some of our 27 miles of trails that are outside, because we surround a small portion of the city of Hot Springs, and then the city of Hot Springs surrounds us. So it's actually the mountain areas that's the actual the natural national park, and then you've got Bathhouse Row, which is kind of like the break between the city and the natural part of the park. It's all about reconnecting with nature, reconnecting for better health. But those would be the two main things to actually kind of visit here in Hot Springs. The National Park Service owns all the bathhouses, and then we have concessionaires that are actually using the buildings themselves. We have a leasing program. Since we are a small park, it's one of the ways that our park actually kind of makes revenue. Since we're free, we don't have an entrance fee to enter our park, and so by helping us restore the historic buildings, we lease the buildings out, and that money then again goes back into the building to keep the upkeep of it.
The historical Superior Bathhouse is leased out to the first and only brewery in the national parks. Superior Bathhouse Brewery was started by Rose Schweikart, and she is utilizing the thermal spring waters to brew all the beer. Check it out. The brewery has a full menu, and you can buy beer to go.
Well, Hot Springs is year round, and it kind of depends on the activities that you're looking for. If you're on summer break, then that's when you're going to come here. Fair warning, it is hot. Being close to these springs doesn't, the humidity is really high. But there's other things around this area that you can do. So springtime, you're going to have, it's great for hiking. The weather's a little cooler. You're going to have all the wildflowers and the flowering trees in bloom. Fall, you're obviously going to have all the fall colors. Wintertime is kind of great. It's a little slower during the wintertime. So if you don't like the crowds and being around a bunch of people, you can still come and visit us during the wintertime. Our campground is open, all year round. So are the bathhouses and the visitor center, so our park never closes. I love the fact that it is pretty much an outdoor mecca, centrally located. So if I want to go hiking or boating or camping, it's within an hour's drive from this area. Hot Springs is a great base, to start off and kind of branch out, kind of do anything that you kind of want when it comes to outdoor activities. So that kind of makes it really nice. Our considered very small park. We do like bio blitzes, and so we're still kind of learning a lot about our changing environments. couple weeks ago, we just did a bio blitz on pollinators, trying to get an understanding on who's pollinating what in the park and what they're pollinating on. We're always looking for good volunteers. So if you go to volunteer.gov, we always post what we need on that, and you just kind of go through that process. But we go from people helping us out in the visitor center, our bookstore, trails, campground host, pulling invasive species, so we've always looking for help like that.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's really great. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to us. And,
You're welcome.
and we want to just encourage people to come and visit this park, see how beautiful it is. And again, do what you can to support the national parks. And at the bottom of this video is a link to our donation page. And again, all of the money raised through our National Foundation's donation page goes directly to a fund that'll help the conservation programs at the national park. So please, again, go down to our link at the bottom of the page and click and donate to the National Parks Foundation to help our national parks.